What would you do if you discovered that your perfect family was built on lies? Linda Peterson thought she had it all figured out until one rainy afternoon changed everything she believed about motherhood, marriage, and trust. Linda Peterson had always prided herself on being the kind of mother who respected her children's privacy. In 17 years of raising her daughter Amy, she'd never once snooped through her room or read her personal belongings. But today was different. Today, she was frantically searching for Amy's passport before their family vacation to Italy, and time was running out. "Where could she have put it?" Linda muttered, carefully moving items around Amy's impeccably organized desk. Her daughter was at school, and they were supposed to leave for the airport in 6 hours. As she lifted a stack of textbooks, a small leather journal fell to the floor, its pages scattered. Linda knelt to collect the loose papers, trying not to look at the writing, when one sentence caught her eye. "Mom has no idea that Dad never actually goes to those business conferences." Linda's hands froze. She knew she should close the diary immediately, but something in those words made her heart race with dread. Against every instinct about privacy and trust, she found herself reading more. "It's been 3 years now since I figured out Dad's secret. 3 years of watching Mom plan these elaborate dinners for his return from business trips, while knowing he's actually been 20 minutes away with her." The words hit Linda like a physical blow. She sank into Amy's desk chair, her carefully controlled world beginning to crumble around her. "This can't be real," she thought desperately. "Amy must be confused or making things up." But as she continued reading, the details were too specific, too painful to be fiction. January 15th saw Dad at the grocery store on Maple Street today with a blonde woman and a little boy who looks just like him. He was supposed to be in Chicago. The kid called him Daddy. I hid behind the cereal aisle and watched them shop like a real family. The woman was wearing a wedding ring. I wanted to throw up. Linda's hands shook as she turned the page. Her husband Mark had been in Chicago that weekend for a medical conference. She remembered because she'd sent him care packages and worried about him being alone in a strange city. March 3rd found Dad's other phone in his jacket pocket when Mom asked me to take his suit to the dry cleaner. It has pictures of the woman, her name is Jennifer, and the little boy, Tyler. There are hundreds of texts between them. They've been together for 4 years. 4 years. Tyler just turned 3. Dad has another son. The diary slipped from Linda's numb fingers. Mark had another family, another wife, another child. For 4 years, while she'd been the devoted wife, planning their lives around his career, supporting his dreams, he'd been living a completely separate life with someone else. But Amy's words weren't finished destroying everything Linda thought she knew. April 20th, I can't take it anymore. I confronted Dad today. I told him I knew about Jennifer and Tyler. You know what he said. He said he loves them both, our family and his other family. He said he never meant for it to happen, but now he can't choose. He begged me not to tell Mom. He said it would destroy her. He's right. It would destroy her. Mom is so happy, so trusting. She talks about Dad like he's her hero. How do I tell her that her hero is living a double life? How do I tell her that half the time when she's missing him and counting down the days until he comes home, he's actually playing house with another woman and his son? Linda realized she was crying, tears falling onto Amy's careful handwriting. Her 17-year-old daughter had been carrying this devastating secret for months, protecting her mother from a truth that would shatter everything. May 10th, Jennifer called our house today. Mom answered. I watched from the kitchen as Jennifer pretended to be someone from Dad's medical practice asking about his schedule. Mom was so polite, so helpful. She even offered to pass along a message. Jennifer was checking to see when Dad would be free next weekend. Mom told her he'd be home with his family. The irony made me sick. I wanted to grab the phone and scream, "He's already with his family, his other family." But I couldn't do that to Mom. I couldn't watch her world fall apart. Linda heard the front door open downstairs. Mark was home early. "Linda, I'm back," his voice called cheerfully. The conference ended early, so I caught an earlier flight. But there had been no conference. Linda checked her phone. It was Thursday. According to Amy's diary entries, Thursday was when Mark spent time with Tyler, taking him to soccer practice. "Linda, where are you?" She heard his footsteps on the stairs, coming toward Amy's room. Quickly, she shoved the diary back where she'd found it and grabbed Amy's passport from the desk drawer where it had been sitting in plain sight the entire time. "There you are," Mark smiled as he appeared in the doorway. He looked tired but relaxed, like he always did after his business trips. "Found the passport." "Yes," Linda managed, her voice barely above a whisper. He stepped closer, and she caught a faint scent of unfamiliar perfume on his shirt. How had she never noticed before? "You okay? You look pale." Mark reached out to touch her forehead, the same gentle gesture he'd made 1,000 times before, but now it felt like a lie. "I'm fine, just tired from packing." "Well, get some rest. Tomorrow we'll be in Italy, just the three of us. Our perfect little family vacation." He kissed her cheek, and Linda had to force herself not to pull away. Our perfect little family, she thought bitterly, while his other perfect little family waits for him to come home to them. That evening, as they sat around the dinner table, Mark talking enthusiastically about their upcoming trip, Amy quiet and picking at her food, Linda felt like she was watching strangers. Her husband of 21 years was a master manipulator. Her daughter was a teenager forced to carry adult secrets to protect her mother's feelings. How long has Amy been protecting me? Linda wondered, watching her daughter's carefully neutral expression. How many nights has she listened to me talk about how lucky I am, how perfect our marriage is, while knowing the truth? After dinner, while Mark was in the shower, Linda knocked softly on Amy's door. "Come in," Amy called. Linda entered and sat on the edge of her daughter's bed. Amy was reading, but Linda could see the tension in her shoulders. "Amy," Linda began carefully, "is there anything you want to tell me? Anything about Dad or our family or anything at all?" Amy's eyes went wide with panic. "What do you mean?" "I found your diary today. I was looking for your passport and it fell open and I read some of it. I'm so sorry for invading your privacy, but Amy, sweetheart, why didn't you tell me?" Amy's book fell from her hands as tears began streaming down her face. "You know." Linda pulled her daughter into her arms, both of them crying now. "I know about Jennifer. I know about Tyler. I know you've been carrying this secret to protect me." "Mom, I'm so sorry," Amy sobbed. "I wanted to tell you, but I couldn't stand the thought of watching you get hurt. You love him so much, and you're so happy, and I couldn't be the one to destroy that." "Oh, sweetheart," Linda held her tighter. "That was never your responsibility. You should never have had to carry this alone." They sat together in the dark, holding each other while 17 years of perfect marriage crumbled around them. "What are you going to do?" Amy whispered. Linda was quiet for a long moment. "I don't know yet, but Amy, whatever happens, you don't have to protect me anymore. I'm the mother. It's my job to protect you." The next morning, as they were supposed to be heading to the airport, Linda sat Mark down at the kitchen table while Amy was upstairs. "Tell me about Jennifer," she said quietly. The color drained from Mark's face. "Linda, Tell me about Tyler. Tell me about your other family." Mark's shoulders sagged in defeat. For the first time in their marriage, he looked his age. "How long have you known?" "Does it matter? What matters is that Amy has known for months. Our 17-year-old daughter has been living with this secret because she was trying to protect me from my own husband's lies." Mark buried his face in his hands. "I never meant for this to happen." "But it did happen, for 4 years. While I was planning our future, you were building another life." "I love you both," Mark said desperately. "I love you and Amy, and I love Jennifer and Tyler. I couldn't choose." "You did choose," Linda replied, her voice surprisingly calm. "You chose to lie to everyone. You chose to let our daughter carry your secrets. You chose to let me live in a fantasy while you played house with someone else." 3 months later, Linda and Amy stood in the kitchen of their new apartment across town. It was smaller than their old house, but it was theirs. No secrets, no lies, no double life. Amy was seeing a therapist to help process the burden she'd carried for so long. Linda was learning to rebuild her identity after 21 years of marriage. "Do you regret reading my diary?" Amy asked one evening as they cooked dinner together. Linda considered the question carefully. "I regret that you felt you had to protect me. I regret that I was so blind to what was happening. But I don't regret learning the truth. Living in a lie isn't really living at all." Mark was still trying to maintain both families, but Jennifer had left him when she discovered he'd never actually divorced Linda. Tyler would grow up knowing his father as a man who chose deception over difficult conversations. As Linda tucked Amy into bed that night, something she hadn't done in years, Amy looked up at her with eyes that seemed much older than 17. "Mom, are you going to be okay?" Linda smiled, the first genuine smile she'd felt in months. "We both are, sweetheart. It's going to take time, but we're going to be more than okay. We're going to be honest. And that's something we haven't been in a very long time." Sometimes the truth comes from the most unexpected places. Sometimes it takes a teenage girl's diary to reveal that the people we trust most are strangers living double lives. But sometimes discovering that truth, no matter how painful, is the first step toward building something real.